Not the therapist. The therapist advocated for my daughter.
Right.
But the court said, well, we don't know that for sure because she's only 3.
So the system again fails. So you were talking about a brush. What did the brush have to do with it?
Yeah, no worries. So this is when it kind of goes back to the emotions that I would have. Mm-hmm. She would hide the hairbrush when it was time to go on a visit because she's thinking to her 3- and 4-year-old mind, you know what, if she can't fix my hair, I don't have to go.
Oh, wow.
You know, so she would hide the brushes and different things. And so,
heart.
Absolutely. So seeing that even now, it makes me emotional.
I'm Angela Williams.
And I'm Katie Sudano.
And I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse.
And I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse.
Welcome to the Voice Up Podcast. Welcome to the Voice Up Podcast. If you're just tuning in with us for the first time, we're giving a voice to the issue of child sexual abuse, which in our society is so prevalent, but unfortunately, it's so stigmatized and it's so taboo. So we feel a great need and a great importance to really start talking about the issue. So when you tune in, you'll hear survivors tell their stories, you'll hear advocates who are in the trenches doing the great work. And we are so excited to have with us today Crysta Marshall.
Crysta Marshall, welcome.
Yes,
and I'm Katie Sudano. We are so happy and honored that you came on today.
Thank you for
the
having
subject me. Is, it's difficult, but it's so necessary. Mm-hmm. And so we are in complete gratitude of having you on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to kind of talk about something that is taboo, but so important for our society and for, everybody that is around us. So, yeah.
So Crysta is a lot of things. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a huge advocate, the founder of Defined with Purpose, mm-hmm. which you'll hear more about later in our show. Mm-hmm. But she also has a story that relates to child sexual abuse. Crysta, you want to tell us a little bit how this terrible subject has touched your life?
Yes, absolutely. So, let me think. We were in 2013. So just to kind of give you a little bit of background information, I have a 14-year-old. I have 4 kids, 14, 4, 3, and then a 1-year-old. So
you're not busy at all,
no,
are you?
No, not at all.
He's got the whole gamut.
Right, absolutely. We always joke we have diapers and hormones at the same time. I don't know what I'm doing.
I love that, diapers and hormones.
Yeah, but just to kind of give a little bit of context to that, it was just me and my 14-year-old. Well, obviously at the time she was a lot younger, but I was a single mom at the time. Her and her father and I, unfortunately, it wasn't a good fit. So it was just me and her. And we had visitation back and forth. And one day she just came to me after visiting her biological dad and was super clingy and was acting a little bit different than what she normally does. And mind you, I lived in Georgia and he lived in Florida. Okay. And so when I got her back, she was like a day late. They didn't bring her back in time. And
How old was she?
She was 3. She was 3 at the time.
Oh, wow.
So 3-year-old.
Yes, she was 3. And so when I picked her up, I was like, hey, what's going on? Just us hanging out and having fun. And she just would not leave my side. And I'm like, something's not right. So she ended up going to the bathroom once we got home, and she was complaining about burning when she went to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her, I was like, what's going on? And I had my parents on FaceTime, and they're like, well, maybe she had a lot of juice and different things. So just take her to the doctor tomorrow and just make sure that she doesn't have a urinary tract infection or anything. I said, okay. So I take her to the doctor. She doesn't go to school. We're driving, get there. They check her out. They're like, no UTI, but let's check a little bit further. And unfortunately, they found lacerations in her vagina when they checked her out. And they asked me, was there any reason that you would assume that there would be sexual abuse? And I'm like, well, no. I mean, I don't see that happening, but she was with her dad and there was people there, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. Long story short, a couple of days later, she starts talking to me about a person that touched her. And I'm like, what was that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. And because there was an instance that there could be child sexual abuse, social services was at the hospital and they told me to take her to get like a forensic interview. And unfortunately, she was sexually abused. Mm-hmm. And so when I found out about that, I call Dad, because I don't assume it's Dad, but I call Dad and I'm like, hey, This is going on. Do you know anything? No, I don't know anything. You know, I don't know. Denial. Was it you? Who has she been around? And then immediately it was kind of like it was my issue. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't been around anything, or she hasn't been around anybody. So that's how we first found out that there was sexual abuse. Couple of weeks later, the police give me a call. There's an open investigation. I'm like, okay, there's something going on. Great. Come to find out, the grandfather, which is Gia's biological grandfather, was absconded from the FBI for child sexual abuse, pornography, making pornography, all of this stuff. So
was this prior to you finding out your daughter was sexually abused?
This was prior, and I had no idea. I had no idea. So he had absconded because he was out on bail. And so he had ran from the FBI. He came back, and supposedly they had no idea where he was at, but my daughter is being sexually abused. And so they're like, it wasn't
and there was another level to that abuse, a more extreme level to that abuse. Can you share with our viewers? In addition to being sexually abused, she was also
absolutely
filmed.
Yes, and that came out once she started talking a little bit more. Okay. So when she was going into therapy, just to kind of like bring it back together and back to speed, she was going to therapy, and she started drawing pictures of cameras and drawing pictures of the wires connected to a computer. And she's at this time 4 and 5.
Yeah, wow,
and so we're like, hey, how would she know?
How would she know?
How would she know? And that's how we found out that they were filming her as well.
And do you have any idea where those films went or what happened to those
I have no idea.
Videos?
I have no idea.
And that's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. It is. I just know that it's going to come out, So
can I take a moment and just for our viewers to educate them on, you saw a distinct change in behavior in your child.
Significant.
So if you're listening to us today and you have a child in your life and you see a distinct change in behavior, there's a reason for that change.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to applaud you as a mother because you took action. You didn't ignore it. You didn't brush it off. You listened to your child.
Yes.
And you got the help that she needed.
Yes, absolutely. It was literally immediately.
And I'm sure it was terrifying.
Oh, yes.
Let us into a little bit about the trauma you experienced in those moments in that time.
For me, initially, it was like there was just an immediate disconnection. And what that disconnection did was, okay, I have to make sure she's okay. So my emotions, my feelings, anything that I would think had to get pushed to the side to make sure that she was okay. And yes, she was okay. We were working through the process. My emotions didn't come until I would see her. So I'm looking at her hide brushes because she would have to still go on visits with her biological dad and hide her brush because she's saying,
hold on. She still went to see her biological father even during the investigation?
That's how our system fails our children.
Yes. So
that's crazy. Like because they didn't know it was the grandfather at that point, or did they already suspect that it could be?
They suspected it was the grandfather, and because they had another out, they still allowed her to see dad.
Wow.
So she would still see her.
So I know I'm kind of squirreling here a little bit, but just so that I understand and for maybe the viewers to understand too. So did the father have any idea the grandfather was doing this, or was he part of the filming, or was it all on the grandfather?
From what my daughter has told me, because I wasn't there, I had to just listen to what she said. It was dad too. It was dad too. He filmed, he did things. She even at times disclosed animals being brought in. And this is at 4 and 5. She's telling me that animals did this to me, mommy, and, different things that.
And that's called bestiality for our viewers who are a little freaked out about this. But it's using animals for sexual and filming and sexual pornography, which is one of the top videos out now, includes children under the age of 3 and animals, which is so devastating.
Absolutely. And I did not know that was real until I talked to her therapist, and I was like, hey, she's telling me about dogs and animals. Like, this can't be real.
Could the therapist have stopped her from visiting the father? I don't understand.
She said what my daughter had said at that time, and the therapist said that it wasn't enough. not the therapist. The therapist advocated for my daughter.
Right.
But the court said, well, we don't know that for sure because she's only 3.
So the system again fails. So you were talking about a brush. What did the brush have to do with it?
Yeah, no worries. So this is when it kind of goes back to the emotions that I would have. She would hide the hairbrush when it was time to go on a visit because she's thinking of her 3 and 4-year-old mind. You know what? If she can't fix my hair, I don't have to go.
Oh, wow.
You know, so she would hide the brushes and different things. And so, absolutely. So seeing that even now, it makes me emotional. I mean, it's 11 years later, because I can't imagine, you know, a 3-year-old trying to do everything that they can.
Anything she felt that could hinder her visitation.
Absolutely. To where now it came to a place.
But so how innocent and just the poor the pressure that she was under. I can't even I can't even imagine.
Absolutely.
Well, and for you too, knowing that you had to do this and literally put her in the lion's den. How did you cope when she was gone? Like, how did you deal with that? Because I couldn't imagine having to do something so against what you as a mom would want, because you're her protector.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, how did you deal with that?
You know, at the time, I think I was so just disconnected, you know, so I was going through the motions and making sure she was okay. But as soon as she was gone, I was literally just on my knees. I was praying. I was asking God to protect her. I was angry at God. I was like, why is this happening? But yet, you know, we know everything that's going on, but yet you still want her to go. So I was like having it out, you know, if that makes sense.
Torn, sure.
I was having it out. I was crying. I was trying to figure out what else can I do besides this and worry. You know, I'm trying to figure out anything else that I could do, you know.
Did your side of the family know at this point what was going on?
Yes. So I lived in Georgia. It was just me and my daughter, and my parents live in Kansas. So I was here by myself. I was here by myself.
A support system.
Yes, they supported me as much as they could, financially, you know, phone calls, everything.
Because this cost a lot of money for parents to try to litigate this. People don't understand. This is a huge hardship.
Absolutely.
Hardship.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Therapy was $360 an hour, and she's going every week.
Wow.
Legal fees $450 per hour for the attorney. So
I wonder if there has to be some sort of nonprofit that we could find out or do something.
Defined with purpose.
That's why we're here.
Oh, is that
it's okay. I want to dig a little deeper, and then we're going to turn it over to define with purpose and everything.
I just skipped forward.
So talk to us a little bit. Did your child ever get justice? What was like the court, the weekly therapy sessions, which takes time and energy and effort and money, and the court system and the legal fees and the lawyers and the court dates, and tell us a little bit about that and what that did to you, I guess, took out of you.
Yeah.
And if she ever got justice.
Yeah. So I think for me and my side personally, I didn't realize that even years after, I always wanted to fight to be heard, because I never felt like her story was heard, because we did not see justice. In the way that we expected. We did not. She still, at the age of 14, goes on visits with her biological father, even though she doesn't want to.
Can she? Oh, I have so many questions. My head's spinning. Yeah. So when she goes, does she? I even hate saying this because I was told this when I was little, but can she protect herself? Is she strong enough to?
Yes.
Okay.
She is a strong person.
Yeah.
The hard part is that she's stronger with me than she is with anybody that might
because
hurt,
I can understand so for me, or for a lot of us, we kind of freeze when we're put in that. It's like fight or flight. But I think with sexual abuse, we tend to just freeze because we don't. It's like our brain kind of shuts down for whatever reason. So. Wow.
So I do see that, you know, it can be tough on her, you know, and it is interesting even now at 14, right after a visit. It's only 3 hours every month, you know, but right after the visit, she comes, gets in the car and just crashes. She goes to sleep.
Well, the emotional energy that it probably takes for her to have to face her abuser, know she didn't get justice, and know she doesn't have any power over her life.
Right.
So that child hopefully will at some point, will she be able to have autonomy over those visits and be able to choose?
We are expecting that. We're expecting that, and we're praying for that. So hopefully, yes.
So I know that you have a beautiful marriage now, but how in the world were you able to trust another man in your life?
Yeah, that was difficult. That was difficult. It was an 8-year process. I was single, completely single, from the time she was born all the way until she was almost 9. Because I needed to make sure that not only she was safe, but she was walking through healing. I was healed. I didn't let anybody in. I mean, Angela knows.
Yes. So I knew this beautiful woman when she was single. And I sat her down one day and I said, you have so much to offer. Yeah. And God doesn't want you to be alone. Yeah. So you're going to have to trust again. Yeah. And I started praying for her Boaz.
Yeah, she did. She definitely did.
I said, God, I know you got a good man out there for Crysta. Absolutely. You just need to bring him into her life.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful love story.
Well, look how radiant you are.
Yes. I have to go to another show to talk about the love story.
About that. Yeah, but, absolutely.
So I really want you to dive into, answer the question about how you were able to trust a man.
Yeah, and I think that the trust came in by being okay with just getting to know a person again. You know, it was step by step by step, and not looking for something for me to be fulfilled by, but more so of just friendship, you know? And so it was definitely God leading, but a lot of being okay with, it's okay to get to know a person as a friend, you know? And it was interesting too, because even with my daughter, I had her included in the process of our friendship. I didn't wait and figure it all out together. Like, I wanted her to see if she felt comfortable as well, you know.
So how many years ago was this?
When I got married?
Yeah, when you met him.
It's like 7.
7. Okay, so I would be like Googling and the poor guy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the side.
There were a lot of walls. He had to break one wall down after another.
Absolutely.
That's one strong man there for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, but how wonderful that you found that.
He got to be a friend. Then he got to hold her hand.
Yes,
and then he got to kiss her on the cheek.
Definitely, step by step. Definitely. And I did not feel like I was, like, the feeling of loneliness did not succumb to say, oh yeah, you're it. Yeah. It was more so of like, okay, I'm the prize. Let me see what you have to offer me. You know, and
every woman, viewers, you're the prize.
You're the prize. Absolutely.
Yes, that's a beautiful way to put it.
Absolutely.
You're the prize. How long did it take before you introduced him to your daughter?
Well, I met him as a friend. So he met me.
So it was just kind of more natural, casual.
Casual. It was so casual. So I met him at church, and she was there with me, and we met together, and that was it. And then as process time and everything just kind of continued, she was with me. Okay. So
so nice. So it's just natural. It wasn't like natural. A thing. Like,
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want you to just dive head on into God's purpose for your life through this trauma and this tragedy, because we love to make a mission out of a mess and a testimony out of a test.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the perspective is so important, because right now I could look at the situation and say, this is still a mess, but I don't see it as a mess anymore. And the reason why I don't is because we've helped so many people through our organization. So once this happened, God really put inside of me, hey, this is a whole, like, help people through this process.
That's amazing.
And so that's what we do. We help and we mentor families that have gone through exactly what I've been through. We hold their hands through the whole process. We partner them with a therapist that is licensed, that's phenomenal, to help them through the process, as well as the person that has been through the abuse. We cover the cost of therapy. Like I said, legal fees are covered as well. And that's what we do.
Tell them the name. You have to tell them the name of the organization.
The organization is called Defined with Purpose.
And where can they find the organization?
Yeah, it's online. It's definedwithpurpose.com. We're on Instagram.
And we'll put a link. We'll put a link down below also for people to get a hold of. That's crazy, because, I obviously didn't do my homework. It's been kind of a crazy week for us. No, but I knew you knew her very well. Yes. So it's kind of cool to have come in and not know anything about it. And here I am. I was like, Is there an organization that does help?
Well, Crysta and I have been for, I guess, almost 15 years, maybe more. We've been great friends. We've partnered in ministry and helping survivors. We've done conferences together. We've got some great, exciting things coming on the horizon that we're going to be working on together. Absolutely. We're working on a rally for child sexual abuse right now that we hope can bring in the community and get some prevention and some healing opportunities out there. I have a question. So right now, you suffered this, 11, 12 years ago, your daughter?
About 11 when we found out.
11 years ago.
She was abused from birth all the way till age of 3.
So how has your perspective changed from 11 years ago on the issue of child sexual abuse to today?
Ooh, my perspective has significantly shifted. I remember when I first found out about my daughter, I was like, yes, finally, like she's going to be okay. She's going to be safe. I thought that all I had to do was call the police and the police were there, and you're like, whoa. Yeah, I thought that this was done. You know, once she disclosed, I was like, this is good. So one of the things that my perspective has shifted on is that we need to advocate for our kids, even past the point of disclosure. Legally, we have to fight for justice in our legal systems, in our governments. And I do realize that there is a hole. We can say that people don't have an understanding. We can say that, our government doesn't care, whatever that may be. I don't care what the issue is. We have to fight for the kids. Yeah. And so for me, I do know that I have to advocate for this cause. And so that's one of the ways that my perspective has changed. I've also helped now hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families. So I do realize how it hurts families through generations. It's not just a singular child issue. This is grandma, grandpa, this is abuela, this is aunt, uncle. It's everybody.
Yeah, it's such a ripple effect.
It's a ripple effect.
Even in our own lives. I mean, I can see the generational ripple effect that it has had even on my family. And it just seems so senseless. Like everyone knows this thing exists. Like even today, I watched the news, which I don't do often, but I just like to kind of see what's in the know. And they're talking about, the sex trafficking and who's involved. And it was, a big celebrity. So everyone knows this is out there. And it's a mind boggle to me that why aren't we stopping this? Why aren't we doing more?
There's no funding defined with purpose. And I just encourage our viewers, please go to her website. She has opportunities for you to donate. You can provide that mental health care, that counseling session for a survivor every week. That funding is desperately needed. You can provide that legal fee that's desperately needed. The funding is one of the reasons the evil entity that controls trafficking and child sexual abuse also controls the purse strings. And so that's one big thing that our society can do. So we need you. We need your help to do the work that Crysta is in the trenches every day doing. And I'm so proud of her.
Thank you. So proud of the work. So amazing to meet you. I can't wait. I want to get involved. So just go to the website and
go to the website, check out
what I can do.
We have volunteer training for volunteers to come in periodically to come and help and be a part. We have fundraising events. We have a lot of things that we like to do within our community to make sure that we're spreading the word.
Tell our viewers just a little bit about a couple of the programs. I know you have a whole list of programs, but just educate them on, what a survivor can look, if our viewers, if you have a survivor in your family and they're struggling to heal, because you don't heal on a continuum. It's like it's up and down, and you need help and support your entire life.
Absolutely.
Katie and I still go to therapy. I need help.
Me too.
We're healed. We're healing. I say we're healing.
We're healing.
We're healing. So talk a little bit about the programs.
So our first program is our Wanna Be Me program, and that's for our babies. Those are the ones that have gone through difficult times, and not necessarily just sexual abuse, but significant trauma in their life. And so it's all broken down into age groups. And so that's where you'll see the difference.
So babies or what age?
So we start at age 4 and we go all the way to age 14 in that group.
Okay.
Our second group is our intimacy program, and that we do see cater more toward the young adult community. So that's usually 18s to mid 30s. Okay. And that program is for people that has experienced significant sexual trauma, because we know in relationships, that's when it comes out a lot. And so we're walking them through the process of what it looks like to be in a relationship, to have intimacy, and what does that look like, and breaking down the walls of not being able to trust and all of those things that happen because of sexual abuse.
Well, I can say, and I know, Katie, you probably agree, intimacy is one of the most difficult things as a survivor, to be vulnerable, to like open up yourself, open up your heart, open up your life.
Yes.
It's like in my life, everybody that I thought loved me hurt me.
Yes.
So you kind of, you bundle that person into that group.
Yes.
So it's hard to let yourself be vulnerable and you know, people hurt people. They don't always mean to, but just to know, okay, I'm going to be hurt again, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in my case, it was difficult for me to have intimacy because I always expected something to come out of if I gave love. There was always an expectation of something, an exchange,
Absolutely.
something in return, or something I had to prove, or something I had to give to receive love or intimacy.
And it makes sense because that's what we see. You know, that's the pattern that's been set as a child.
Yeah, the grooming pattern.
Absolutely.
You know, I'll give you this if you do that, or you know.
So Want to Be Me, intimacy. What
Yes,
else?
and then our last program, which is our biggest program, which is our No More Secrets program, and that's the one that starts from ages 4 all the way to mid-40s, 50s.
Now, what if we're not in your community? Do you have something for them online, or is this
do.
Oh, you do.
We're nationwide. So we see people all over the nation through our video telehealth program that we do. So if you're not able to be in person, we do telehealth as well.
So do you have anything for men? I know a lot of, we don't think boys are sexually abused, right? It's just girls. Is that the case? Just girls?
No, not at all. Not at all. So I think that's probably one of the amazing parts about being married now is because when my husband came on board, he started the men's division of Define with Purpose. So we have a whole division that's catered specifically toward men. And now we have male mentors that are taking that on and walking with the men that need a male to walk through with them as well. So so we see men, women,
So
everyone.
the intimacy and the other two programs, are they for both men and women, girls and boys?
They're all for men, women, girls, boys. Anybody that's unfortunately experienced child sexual abuse or trauma.
So does your program cost?
It does. It does. So we do have a fee for the program. However, we do work on that based on income. So everything goes through our board to see, because we don't want to turn anyone away because of finances. So, I mean, if that was the case, I wouldn't have been able to help my daughter.
Yeah.
The reason why I was able to help her and pay over $300,000 in the course of 2 years was because my parents helped me. And if my parents didn't have that money, she would have still unfortunately been going there because we had to go civilly. There wasn't enough evidence to have a criminal case.
And how many people have $300,000 sitting around that they can give to an attorney?
Absolutely. And that's the reason why we do cover fees when a person isn't able to. So there is a vetting process, and we do go through a whole process as far as making sure that that's something that we can do. But we do. We do help.
Now, what if someone needs to seek legal counsel and they don't have the fees just yet, but they want to just reach out and see if there's something that they can do or if they have a case? Does that cost money, or is that just like a consultation?
We have a consultation. That would be a consultation, and there's no charge for the consultations.
Good. So at least someone can reach out and say, hey, is this even a thing?
On. Absolutely.
Okay, that's nice. Nice.
So what is at this moment the greatest need in your organization?
The greatest need, honestly, is finances. I mean, $450 per hour. I mean, we do have partner attorneys that do work with us sometimes. However, there's still a need for finances. We have to pay for therapy. We have to pay for everything that we're doing. So finances is the biggest need. I think our second need would be phenomenal mentors that really have a heart and a passion to see people heal. And so I think those are our two biggest needs right now.
So can you look into the camera and just tell our viewers, just speak to that mother that they just found out their child has been sexually abused. Can you speak to that mother and just give her some encouragement?
Absolutely. The thing that I would say is my daughter, I'm going to let her, from what she told me, my daughter at the age of 8 years old looked at me one day when we were in the car and was like, Mom, I'm glad what happened to me. And then she kind of switched it and said, you know what, I'm not glad, but I'm grateful that it happened because we were able to help so many people from what happened to me. And for me, it just showed me how much that if we really just keep our eyes focused on our children and what God can do with the situation, that it can help so many other people. It doesn't have to be an isolated incident that hurts us for the rest of our lives. This can be something that we do combat and we help other people with, but also too, like, we can give God the glory because we know that we're not where we could be, you know, so it will get better. It will be so much, you will see the light, you know, so just make sure that you have the help that you need, the support, you know, and mom, if you're upset and you're tired and you're frustrated and you're angry, it makes sense. You're tired because personally and stress, it's so much. So make sure you have the community that you need around, and if not, called to find with purpose. That's what we're here for. So we walk mama and daddy through this process too. So
wow. And
that's beautiful.
So tell us how you healed. That was a lot to heal from.
It was a lot to heal from. And like you said, we're still going to therapy. There's so many layers to this that you don't realize can come out at a certain time. So the way that I've healed has been being able to see the big picture, you know, and just realizing that the big picture is, it's a generational thing, that like now my daughter doesn't have to know that, you know, her mom didn't fight for her, or that like, she, you know, if tragedy happens, it doesn't mean that that's the end of our life. So the big picture is that we can bounce back. And that's how I've healed. I've healed by knowing that there's other people that have experienced this. You know, the numbers are staggering of those that have experienced sexual abuse.
So we're coming to the end of our show, and we always ask our guests, and this is going to spring it on you. We ask for just the voice of inspiration, because our podcast is Voice Up. We're giving a voice to this issue, but we'd like for you to share with our friends just a voice of inspiration, something that's inspirational to you. It could be a book, it could be a verse, Bible verse, it could be just that inspiration that just keeps you going. Yeah,
I mean, this might sound super sappy, but I got to be honest. Like, the thing that has definitely inspired me is this one. Yes. Yeah, and it's going to probably make me tear up, but she has fought. I need to take that seriously. But she has never stopped. And for me to know that people will fight until their deathbed on helping others makes me know that, like, I'm not going to stop. Like, she's probably older than me by a little bit. Not a whole, but just a little bit. But just to know that, like, you know, like, there's other people that are pioneering the way. So all you have to do is just walk the path that God has you on, because somebody's already walked through some of the process, but just run, just go, you know, there's nothing that stops her. And I watch her and I'm just like, how is she calling me and doing all this and has this stuff going on? And I can barely answer the phone. And so with her, like, she's really helped me significantly. And inspiration helps to have mentors and people around you that have done it well. You know, that you can, like, stand on and watch. So
I am so honored. I'm so absolutely honored. And I love you. And, you know, coming alongside people, guys, we have to share our lives with other people. And we are here on mission for a purpose. Yeah. God sent us here on a purpose. And Crysta, I'm so excited that you're on our show today. I know that we have no idea where this podcast is going to go and how many lives it's going to touch. But I know that God's going to use it in a mighty way. Yeah. And he's using you in a mighty way. And all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Absolutely.
So you have been a blessing, and thank you.
Thank you. And I am so honored to have met you. I'm so proud of just a little bit that I've heard today. You know, driving here today, I was thinking, you know, how big and monumental this is, and sometimes it can feel daunting. It can feel like we're out here alone in the valley trying to yell and scream for help, and just for a light to be shining on these children and on survivors. And what you're doing seems phenomenal. It seems like it's been a lot of hard work, but it seems like it's growing, and you're doing great. And I really do hope that people hearing this will go to her website and will contribute, will be a part of it. I know that certain times we see, hear, or feel things. Don't let anything or anyone stop you from doing what you know is right and good. And even if it's scary or ugly, or we don't want to talk about certain things, you're in the trenches. You're such a warrior. You're the warrior princess, I feel. I don't know why I said that, but your aura So yeah, thank you for doing that, for your daughter, for yourself, and for everyone who's been touched by this.
So we want to thank you for tuning in for the Voice Up podcast. We ask that you would share it in your social media, share it with your friends. This is an important issue and we've got to voice up on it. And we want to shout out to Mesmerize Media for making this podcast possible. Thank you.